Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl LaShays here. So I just watched Love is Blind season 7, the reunion. Let's get into it. So y'all, I have my notes of course, but quite honestly, this reunion did not hit the way I thought that it would. And we started off strong. First of all, everybody looked amazing. Like, I guess production sent out an email like, hey, y'all need to step it up. Everybody looked cute. Quite honestly, everybody looked cute. Ashley and Tyler are still married. So are Taylor and Garrett. Taylor and Garrett were actually a super cute couple. They had their hiccups. They had their little bumps in the road. Especially when we found out that Garrett had texted his ex and then lied about the extent of the interaction with his ex, or not texted, his ex DM'd him or something like that on Instagram, and he had lied to Taylor about how far that interaction went, and then he tried to spin it because when Taylor said you didn't think it was necessary to tell me the truth of the whole interaction, I felt her on that. But also when she said that her and Ashley, like, if it's too much foolishness, they're gonna say no. I believe that about Taylor. I don't believe that about Ashley. And the reunion proved that. The reunion proved that. So, ciao. We start off with Taylor and Garrett. They went fishing. And then we found out that he went fishing with Tyler and Tim. Garrett, please, you are married now. Let's not continue associating with problematic people. Tyler is a pathological liar, and Tim is just a mess. Like, Tim is a mess. We will get to both of them, but I just thought that was interesting. Of course, they're wholesome, so there's not much like drama there. So we skip over them after we talk about like the fishing trip and stuff. We get into Ashley and Taylor. Now, if you were anything like me, when Vanessa asked them about the whole like kid situation and everything, I said, okay, the LaShays have seen all of us coming for them online. Look at my nails, also mad cute. But anyway, the LaShays saw everybody coming for them online because of how they handle these reunions. And they said, fine, you want us to be messy, we'll be messy. And so they asked, and I said, oh, now we about to get into the drama. Now we about to get into one of the reasons we're here. But no, it turned into a press tour for the redemption of Tyler and why he's still such a good man, Savannah, and how he gives Taylor such, how he gives Ashley such a calm love, and he makes her feel so safe. And I'm just listening to her talk, and I'm like, how is the calm in the room with us? Because now I get it. You know, they filmed this, everything happened, and then of course we as the audience saw it because that's how filming works and everything. But the way Ashley was talking, oh, he wanted to protect his friend and those kids, but he didn't want to protect you. Because yes, she did admit that they had a conversation off camera where they went, I'm assuming, into the full, as full as Tyler wanted to confess then. And then she said, well, you're going to have to bring some of that for tomorrow when the cameras are rolling. Which, fair, I can understand that. But also at the same time, that means that you and him sat there and the best y'all could come up with was Tyler's gonna lie and say he doesn't think that those kids know what he looks like. That's the best y'all could do. You could have spun it to where you could have spun it like you did at the reunion, because in the conversation, y'all portrayed it like he's lying to you. So we were on your side because you're being lied to and he's not giving you the full truth. It's like you've got to pull teeth to get the full truth out of this man. But then at the reunion, you admit that you knew everything. And that when you said I do, you said I do to everything. And that you and him came up with it together. But at the reunion, you're spinning it that Tyler was in these people's, like in the kids' lives, because his friend separated from her wife, and so she became a single mom, and Tyler felt bad for those kids, and so that's why he stepped in to help out, and that's why he has pictures and videos with them at Christmas and things like that, because he was just trying to help out a single mom. So why didn't, if y'all were saying, if y'all committing to the fact that this is how you're spinning it, why didn't you spin it like that then? Because y'all talked about it. So how much at that point did he reveal to you? Because Ashley was the one at the reunion saying that we insulted her intelligence because we felt like she was getting scammed. And she said, no, surprise, 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 surprise. I am scamming y'all. I was in on it the whole time. It's giving, you know that movie Now You See Me, where it turns out that the FBI agent dude that was helping track down the magicians was in on it the whole time? That's Ashley. And I don't know how much she actually knew, but she knew enough to where she felt like she could make an informed decision, and will now therefore stick by her decision that she made a year ago at the time that this was filmed. So it was just, no, what are we doing here? And then so Ashley and Tyler get to say all that, and how Tyler wanted to protect, you know, the other people involved, and how when the show came out, what they didn't want to happen is what happened. But y'all went on reality TV, so we all knew that was gonna happen. This is the age of social media. Nothing is off limits anymore. Nothing. People have PhDs in minding other people's business. So there, and Love is Blind is huge. So they're gonna find, especially when you're bringing something like that. You said, or he said, that he was a sperm donor. His, you know, people from his past are the one that came out on social media first and stoked the fires of that flame. So of course people are going to be interested. Everybody loves a good drama. Of course people are going to dig more to see what's all in that. Like, what did you think was going to happen? And I'm still kind of mad because the wedding was so beautiful. Y'all, that wedding was immaculate. That wedding was immaculate. And if Tyler was a better person, not even just a better man, if Tyler was a better person, that wedding would have been it. But because Tyler has played in this woman's face time and time again, and she is just deciding to turn the other cheek and pretend like it doesn't bother her, again, speculation, because I don't know these people from Adam. So whether it bothered her or not, we will never know. She's saying it doesn't, but it had, the way she was looking in them episodes, it had to bother her at some point. But with all that in mind, watching that wedding, I was so, and then to find out that they're still married, still on one accord. And I wrote in my notes that when he's talking about it, Tyler gets emotional and he starts crying these crocodile tears. And quite honestly, I'm like, hang it up, because it was giving Clay when you just start crying on command a little bit, in a sense, because nobody feels bad for you. At the end of the day, you are a scammer. You committed to the scam and you won. You got a woman who will hold you down through thick and thin. Ashley is the one that carried that conversation. Ashley is the one that was going to bat for this man. All Tyler had to do was sit there with his little legs crossed and cry a little bit. Give his 2 little cents. Ashley was given the other 98. And somebody could make the argument that, you know, now he is trying to do right by Ashley because he decided that that's what he wanted to do. And whether that's the case or not, he's still low down. His actions are still low down. Whether Ashley wants to admit that now or not, because she kept reiterating that he was a good person, but his actions didn't show us that he was. How many times were y'all on camera where he could bring up the fact that he had these kids? And it wasn't until like what, episode 10, episode 11 that we got to see that conversation. We can only infer from what we see. And then at the reunion, to say that we are the ones insulting your intelligence. It's not us, babe. It's not us. And then not AD and Marshall and I think Marissa in the audience. AD and Marshall, I want to see more of that duo because their reactions throughout this whole thing was hilarious. Best part of the reunion, because they skated over that. Like, they let Ashley and Tyler do their little like press tour and get all that out, and then they said Thank you for bringing that up. On to the next. There was no heat for this man like lying. They briefly went over the fact that like he was lying for the cameras because he and Ashley had talked about it earlier, and they were trying to control what, I guess, what the public had access to or what the public found interesting. But like, it's a reality TV show. You never know what the public is gonna latch onto. So quite honestly, that it probably would have been a smarter move if they had just been honest that he was in these people's lives to a certain extent. You could have spun it like you were a parental figure for them, because all the information that came out, you basically were. Moving on. Now Ashley's dress, I did like that. I've seen a couple other viewers say like they think that since this came out on Halloween, was it a costume theme? Because some of those outfits, like some of them were like just given like regular like reunion stunning, and then others it did look like they were trying to do some kind of like Halloween themed outfit. I'm gonna say this and then I'm gonna leave it alone with Ashley and Tyler. The LaShays asked them what do they like what's the best part about being with each other. That's when Ashley talks about how like he gives her a calm love and a safe space and all these other things, and Tyler says her love is unconditional. The way this woman has been bending over backwards trying to portray you as a good man, and all you can say about her is that her love is unconditional, and it's the first time you didn't feel unconditional love in your life. Quite honestly, it's sad. Because Ashley deserves a better man than that, but she's choosing to stick with the one she's got. I can't be on her side anymore because she's choosing to stay in this situation. Moving on, I do not like this trend that we have been getting for these reunions where they invite old cast members back. Why are they here? If we wanted to catch up with them, then we could do so on Instagram. I'm not here watching the season 7 reunion for Jessica from season, was it Jessica? Whatever that girl's name from season 1, because that has nothing to do with all the drama that we had in the season. I can understand if the season wasn't really giving us a lot, so they needed to pad the runtime, but this season we had almost nothing but drama. The love was barely there. Like Taylor and Garrett were the main ones holding down the love aspect, because Ashley and Tyler struggle love. Everybody else bully romance, which isn't real love. So all the drama that we had this season, and you are trying to pad the runtime with old castmates from season 1, from season 4. Why were y'all asking AD what she thought about certain things? Why were we spending minutes on old girl and her new husband and their baby, or like the other couple, what was it, Zach and Bliss and their new baby? I can find that out through Instagram, or if y'all, I've seen other people say it and I agree, if y'all want these people here so bad, make another show or make another episode with just like a where are they now segment, something. I don't stop showing that to me in the reunion, because it's annoying. I feel like we took away from key drama points to focus on somebody's parents, to focus on old castmates. For what? Now, after them, we get to Marissa and Ramses. Listen, because them first asking Marissa, I believe, how watching it made her feel, and she felt like she was reliving it all over again. I felt that. I felt for her in that moment, because I'm sure in the moment it was hard. So watching the way you broke down, I'm sure was wild. But I hope that this is a learning point for her, because Ramses had her down bad, and at the end he was nothing but red flags. And I mean, the switch up was crazy, and it was so gradual that I didn't notice it until their blowout fight. Well, not fight, but their blowout breakup. And I look and I'm thinking back and I'm like, the signs were there. Some of these people need to be teaching a masterclass in gaslighting and making you feel like you're crazy. Tim, Hannah, Katie, Ramses, they need to be teaching a masterclass in spinning the narrative, babes, because, well, maybe not Hannah. but definitely Ramses, Tim, and Katie. But child, but I will say, even though I said, you know, why are we asking the parents, when we cut to Ramses and we ask, you know, how did he feel watching, you know, the season back and everything that happened, and you know, he tries to say like, oh, it was heartbreaking, it was hard, I didn't come on the show to break any hearts, but you also clearly did not come on the show to win a wife, so you know, maybe you were like Nick, trying to be the best, trying to be the best Love is Blind contestant there ever was. Okay, Ash. Guys, for my Pokemon fans, when he said trying to be the most famous, when Nick said trying to be the most famous Love is Blind contestant there ever was, immediately I thought of Pokemon and trying to, you know, the opening theme song. I want to be the very best, like no one ever was. Hilarious. But Ramses, you know, tries to do his little like apologetic spiel, and we immediately cut to Marissa's mom. That's top tier. That's top tier editing. That cracked me up so bad because she was looking the way we all, I'm sure, we're looking. Because Ramses, once again, you were saying a bunch of nothing. You're saying it in an apologetic tone, but you're saying a bunch of nothing. Now you're backtracking on the condom situation. Now, and I will give him that because we don't know what made it. Well, we know what made it, but we don't know what didn't make it off the cutting room floor. You know, maybe they did have a super nuanced conversation and they just kind of edited it to where it looks like he's just a whiny man-child who doesn't want to have any real repercussions to his actions. You know, I will give him that. Maybe he just got a bad edit. But all of a sudden, you were having doubts the whole time. Or not the whole time, but you know, you were having some serious doubts and you had to keep contemplating, and all of a sudden her energy is too much for you. Okay, all of a sudden she's a great girl but she's just not for you. Oh, okay. When her mom said Marissa would have carried that conversation, Marissa would have carried that relationship, yeah, she was already carrying the relationship. In the pods, they had something. Once they made it to the real world and she was bringing home work and stuff, and they started having, like, you know, she was going through her time of the month and things like that, baby Ramses was checking out. He said, I'm done, I'm out of here. Mentally, you could tell, because it would start getting to be more fights about stuff that he said he was okay with. The military thing, she didn't keep that a secret. Just like Leo would insert his money in every conversation, Marissa was inserting that she was a veteran in almost every conversation. So you couldn't say you didn't know. That wasn't a problem in the pods, but you come out, you're in the real world, and now all of a sudden that's a problem. Now all of a sudden it's a moral dilemma. She said she was thinking of wanting kids earlier. That was a problem. You were the one who said that you loved her energy. You loved how she was always true to herself and she's always going to show up as herself. Marissa is nothing if not authentic. She is always going to be herself. In the pods, you said that was spectacular. Y'all get out of the pods, all of a sudden it's too much. And clearly y'all ate him up so bad on the internet that he had to go ahead and switch up his hairstyle. And then something that he said too that stuck out to me was when Ramses said he wasn't sure if it'd be an issue, and so that's why when he was having doubts he didn't bring it up to Marissa. And I just find that so interesting because all of y'all's disagreements were big issues, but y'all just skated past them every time. You just kind of glossed over it. Based on, you know, what we saw on the show, y'all glossed over it every time. So y'all, it always seemed like y'all were just pretending that you came to an agreement, but you didn't. And so little stuff like that, it's not little, but for the sake of argument, little stuff like that adds up. Of course you're gonna have doubts. What fundamentally do y'all agree on? But also when Marissa was saying, you know, she was telling Ramses every time you talk, or every time you're talking right now, it's like I this, I that. But we're a partnership and you took away my choice because you decided things for yourself without coming to me and trying to talk about it. And on one hand, I hear her because that is very true, that's very valid. When you are in a relationship with somebody, you are supposed to be discussing things, any doubts, anything like that with your partner to see if there is a resolution. If there is not, you know, it is what it is. But at least y'all came to that conclusion together. But on the other hand, when they would talk about issues, they would gloss over it. So what resolution were they coming to? I think them not working out was the best thing for Marissa, quite honestly. Now, then we get to Hannah and Nick. And this is what I mean when I say we padded the runtime with the wrong thing. We let Ashley and Tyler skate by after saying what they wanted to say. There were no follow-up questions. We get to Hannah and Nick. Now, one thing about Hannah, she was mean, but what lies did she tell? Because they asked Hannah, is there anything that you want to say to Nick as far as an apology goes? And Hannah says no. She doubles down. And I can appreciate that. Do I think it's right? No. I think she should have apologized because her delivery was awful. Her delivery was awful. There's a difference between being blunt and being disrespectful. Because a lot of the stuff that she said to Nick, the financial literacy stuff, she had a point. Now, Hannah's delivery, trash. Hannah was just straight up mean to that man. But when Nick was saying he doesn't understand what she was talking about, like how she would say she's more financially literate than him, that's true. And how like he couldn't provide, she felt like he couldn't provide for her. I can see that. He should have focused on, because you know, all through social media people were saying that Hannah was just a straight bully. She was, no one's arguing that. But Nick should have just taken it from the fact that she was just straight mean to him, not focusing on what she said to him, or throwing out the comments like, I took you from a boy to a man, because that was diabolical. That was a diabolical sentence. Not the fact that she is more financially literate than you, or that it does make sense why she would think you couldn't take care of her. You were coming with no plan, just vibes. But then we find out that Nick was talking about her behind her back, and that he told the guys told the girls, because obviously the guys are just as messy as the girls are. I almost feel like that's almost a requirement of Love is Blind. Like, you have to be willing to gossip with your partner or you can't come on the show. So Nick tells the guys tell the girls. Hannah ends up hearing about it. I think she said what, like after the last episode or close to then. And baby, the boys are practicing the mute challenge, because the girls are saying how Nick called her ugly in multiple senses. Like, he was rating her a 5 out of 10. He calls her a grenade, which apparently just means ugly. We're on this segment way too long. Like, not way too long, I think long enough, but way too long, and I'm gonna explain that in a minute. But you know, they're trying to make him confess basically that he said all these things about Hannah behind her back. And Steven, out of all the men, of course it's Steven that corroborates the story. He says, yeah, he did say that. And then Ramses. Now, okay, before Ramses says something, Nick is still saying, ask the source. I never said that. Saying all these things, basically saying he never said that, he never said that, he never said that. He's standing 10 toes down. As soon as Ramses says, nah man, this just might be the moment to take accountability, now Nick wants to say, okay, yeah, I was underwhelmed by her appearance. Oh, so you did say it. Because when everybody else was saying that, Nick said he didn't say that. As soon as Ramses spoke up, Nick admitted it. But I do think it was interesting that they were so ready to talk about how Nick was trying to be famous, and like he wrote down these goals and he was going to be the most famous person on Love is Blind, which he did say he had been in interviews for the show at that point. So he had a hope. Like, he kept trying to say, you know, it didn't matter to me, it was meaningless, it meant nothing. Clearly it meant something if out of all the goals you could have written, that was the one you wanted. You wanted to be an influencer. And hey, we are on season 7 of that. I'm not surprised. I just think it's so funny how you flip-flop. Nick is a flip-flopper. Nick is a flip-flopper. Like, that's why I never thought he was some like sweet baby angel. Was Hannah mean? Was Hannah ruthless? Absolutely. Did Hannah stand 10 tones down and she just was not sorry about how she treated that man? Absolutely. Because she even said when we were filming, I knew I was doing too much, and still continued to do it anyway. Diabolical. But Nick wanted to be an influencer, so he was gonna stick it out probably for as long as he could. It's just unfortunate that those two ended up being paired together. But I do think it was interesting that they were so, you know, so ready to get Nick to admit that he was underwhelmed by Hannah, but not really get on her for the way she was talking. Because again, you can't say that you are self-aware and continue to practice the same behavior. Hannah, Steven, Tyler, Tim, just because you say that you are self-aware, that does not mean that that gives you a pass to continue being diabolical. So, and then also Garrett, hilarious, because he's talking about I'm just ready for us to move past it because Nick had more patience than me. It couldn't have been me. Basically, he was being, you know, shady, saying Nick had more patience than him. He lucky Taylor had patience for him. Because let's not forget that Garrett was getting on my nerves, at least in the beginning episodes. He grew on me later, but in the beginning episodes, he was annoying. Telling Taylor that he was perfectly fine going to San Diego because he loved her so much. Then come to find out at the reunion that they never moved to San Diego because it was too much. Garrett was too attached to his family. You lucky Taylor is an understanding spouse because you sold her a dream in the pods. You're the one who said that you were okay upending your life to go where she wanted to go. But you have all this insight for Nick and how he handled Hannah. This is not your fight. Why are you in it? Trying to say, I hope we move past it. No, this is what we were here for. Garrett has a lot to say for these men. With Tyler in an accident situation, Tyler start crying them crocodile tears. Garrett talking about something, we've got your back, man. Did production look at Garrett and say, you have to say something? You can't just say that you had a good time fishing with Taylor. You have to give us something else. Because why was he inserting himself in the conversations? And then they gave us past couple montages and I was sick. We did not get on Hannah like we should have because we're too busy looking at past season montages. Because keep in mind the reunion was an hour and some change. They had enough drama from the season to fill that hour, but it was wasted. Okay. Still on the Hannah and Nick stuff. Because then we get to Katie in the audience, who I didn't mind because she was actually part of this season. Her input matters because she was actually part of the foolishness that was going on this season. So we play a clip of when Hannah and Nick are arguing about how Nick was getting frustrated because Hannah was bringing up that she did not like how long he was talking to Katie. Now, I feel like everybody is forgetting, and I wish they would have played the clip, but I feel like everybody was forgetting that when the whole get together, like before the get together started and they were all like picking out their costumes out of like the Amazon boxes and stuff, Nick said, because Hannah had asked him, is there anyone tonight that you would be interested in seeing? Nick said Katie. Nick did say that he was interested in getting closure with Katie. He was eager to see her. So for him and Katie to have as long as a conversation as they did, and the way they were giggling and laughing and joking, it did look flirty. It did. You cannot convince me that it didn't. It did not look innocent. It did not. Especially considering that we know Katie and Nick had a connection in the pods. And Katie found him attractive because she called him cute 2-3 times. She kept bringing it up. Somebody would say the sky is blue. Katie, Nick is cute. Nick is much better looking in person. And Nick has already shown Hannah that he played too much in other women's faces. So was her insecurity misplaced? Not fully, I don't think so. But the way Katie spun it to where she was the victim in all this. A master class. She should be teaching a master class. Because from Katie's comments, I wouldn't really trust her either in that moment. But Katie wants to spin it like Hannah was coming out of left field. And she couldn't even, because Katie even said herself she could see how the conversation looked a little suspicious. But okay. And then Marissa's mom says that Hannah made Katie feel like trash for a whole year. That's when Hannah lost me. Hannah was losing me. Like, I was following her, but then she would lose me throughout this whole reunion. Because some of the stuff that she would say, I'd be like, I could see that. But then some of the stuff other people would say that she did, I'd be like, no, Hannah, you're doing too much. And then they bring Leo and Brittany out. You know, Brittany and Leo do acknowledge that they were the weakest link. And so that's why they didn't go to Cabo, but they did go to Miami They explored their connection there, and it just did not work out. And just like production must have told Garrett, you gotta say something every couple of minutes, they must have told Tim, you looking a little dead over there. Because why did Tim pipe up and say that Leah was more than what he put on for the cameras? And I'm just like, Tim, are you really the one that should be saying that Leo came on here with the right intentions? Because the handshake, because Tim said, Leo, you my boy. And guys, okay. So Tim goes in for a fist bump, Leo goes in for a handshake. So they do this, and then they do this, and then they do this. But that's your boy. The jokes are writing themselves, and they probably should have, because the LaShays used the wrap it up joke way too much. It was funny the first time because it was comedic timing, but every time after that, it was like, guys, Brittany does say that Leo was the best part of the reveal. She just felt like the whole scenario itself, not him, was awkward, and that's why she looked so awkward and off-put on the cameras. And then we finally get to Steven, and again, this is where I felt like the runtime was wasted, because Steven immediately starts joking that, ooh, the DMs were juicy, they were juicy, but I don't remember them, I deleted them. But nobody wants to hear my side of the story. Nobody cares about my side of the story. The person did DM me that they had, what did they say? Oh, because I wrote it down. I didn't, I just said that it was hilarious. Dang. I think he said that the person had like a heart condition, and said, basically was like, hey, I have this heart condition. Let me tell you about the fetishes I've just let me tell you about what I've been into lately. And Steven said, I'm intrigued. Tell me more. So first it was the texts were juicy, but you can't remember them because you deleted them. Then it was the person had a heart condition who wanted to tell you about the stuff that they were getting into. Then it was, keep in mind, he said he deleted them, but later on he says, I keep my text thread, and I did not delete this thread because I saw the road that I was heading down, and I said, hey, let me put this down, let me not respond anymore. And I felt like I conquered this demon, and I wanted this text thread to remain, to remind myself that I am better than the man I used to be. Okay? So first he deleted the text thread, then he kept the text thread as proof that he was no longer a cheater. Then he keeps all his text threads. Then Monica knew that he didn't have a password on his phone. But Monica says, skirt, that's a lie. I never knew that you didn't have a passcode. Then Steven says, yes, but all of my partners know that my phone is open season, because if I'm doing something crazy, I deserve to get caught. And that's when I checked out. No, it was after he said, like, you know how Steven rambles. Then he says he's been reading books. Guys, he's been reading books. What books, we don't know, but he's been reading books, and he goes to therapy. Okay? And so Monica said it best when she said, you talk about trying to be better, just do better. It's a choice. You choose to play stupid games and continue winning stupid prizes. So no, you can try to pretend like you are such a victim because nobody wants to hear your side of the story, but your side of the story don't make no sense. So when he kept trying to, you know, say, no one wants to hear me, no one wants to hear me, I was like, I want to hear you, because I want to hear what foolishness is about to come out of your mouth. Because that's what we are here for the reunion. But after Steven says that spiel and Monica gets onto him just a little bit, and how what he said don't make no sense, and how he decided to be a cheater so he gonna stay a cheater. But she never saw it coming, because Steven admitted it. Unlike the other cheaters that she's been with in the past, Steven was upfront about his past indiscretions, and so that made her feel like she could trust him. So if he had told you that, because he also said that he knew this woman that he had the risque DMs with. So if he had told you that he knew this woman and that they had been talking back and forth, would that have been fine? We tell Marissa to stand up, Monica need to stand up too. Then we finally get to Alex and Tim, and we ask about the fight that we did not get to see on camera. Keep in mind now, at this point, we're like 40 minutes in. This thing is only an hour and what, like an hour 40 minutes or something? Keep that in mind, okay? We're almost to the end of the runtime. at this point, when we finally get to Alex and Tim and their fight that led to Tim saying that he was basically done with Alex. So Alex explains that for the fight, she needed space because there was stuff going on with her father that she just needed a minute to collect herself. Okay, now Alex is explaining all this, and then she's also explaining how, I mean, we heard in the episode she had been talking to the man's family for 4 or 5 hours. They have been together up until that point for the whole day. She has to go to work at 9, so she took an hour nap before she went to work. I don't care what anybody says. Tim saying that she should not have taken that nap is diabolical. Because what do you mean? Especially since he said she would have to work from 9 p.m. to like 3 a.m. Bartending, you gotta be vigilant. I don't care what anybody says. You have to be on your A game. Because when people are drinking, any kind of situation could go left. So yeah, she needed that nap. And it's just a nap before work. Why is that a big deal? I can see now because notice how she talks about how she talked to this man's family for 4 or 5 hours. Tim does not refute that. So I could see if his family had driven up to spend time with them, and immediately, Alex did not spend any time with them. She did not see these folks at all. Then Tim would have a leg to stand on. Child, my camera keep overheating. So I guess that's a sign that even this is done. But yeah, so they have that fight. And now I will say Alex should not have put her hands over that man's mouth, because that could go either way. That could go either way. You just never know how somebody will react to something. But I do feel her on trying to de-escalate the situation, because, hey, and I do feel Tim on saying that he knows how they could have spun the narrative on him, and that's why he was just trying to get away. So, like, he was just trying to separate himself from that situation. That's fair. That's valid. That's a fair argument. But where he lost me was that Alex would bring up stuff and he'd just be like, I'm just trying to love you. Why don't you want somebody? What's the attitude for? What did I do to you? What did I do to you? What did I do to you? So you have no comprehension skills. Because Alex just said what you did to her. Alex just said how that made her feel. And you still want to be like, but I'm just trying to love you. What's the attitude for somebody who's just trying to love you? So Tim, you're one of those. And I had an inkling when he said that he is too grown to argue. And every time Alex brought something up, he did not want to express himself. He just wanted to separate. After he read that beautiful note to her parents, he told Alex he was having doubts about them. So I can understand why Alex did not put 110% when it came to his family like he did for her. Because at that point, what's the point? You just said you were having doubts. Especially since, 2 days later, he calling it quits because you didn't respond to his text about keeping an eye on your tire and you took a nap. Like, I hear Tim that she should have put more effort into his family like he did with hers. No one is taking that away from him. But after that, he lost me. And I had to side with Alex. Tim is antagonistic. He's antagonistic, and then he want to play dumb when the other person is antagonized and reacts that way. But they had not spoken since the show finished airing, and Tim said, I never want to see you again until this reunion. And so I will say that I do appreciate the LaShays just kind of cutting that dead in the water, because at one point it was just going around in circles because Tim did not want to admit that he did anything wrong. And then we learned that Taylor and Garrett are currently living in Fredericksburg, because Garrett did open up and say that San Francisco was just doing too much. He couldn't do it in the end. And then we get a sneak peek of 3 of the contestants for season 8. I didn't really like that either. I like to be surprised. I'm gonna continue watching Love is Blind, but where's the surprise? But season 8 is premiering on February 14th in 2025. So of course I will be tuning in with y'all. Because I saw some people saying, they stopped tuning in after this season. So let me know down in the comments if y'all are going to continue watching the foolishness that is Love is Blind. Overall, my thoughts on the reunion, I'm annoyed. We didn't leave satisfied. But that is all I have for you guys. Hopefully this isn't too crazy because my camera overheated a couple of times. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see y'all in the next video. Bye guys.